and welcome. A Merry Christmas to you, and of course, a happy holiday season to everyone out there. We are in the last few days of the year 2017, and though we had since entered our stock-taking mood, we are officially dedicating this episode as part one of our two-part end-of-the-year review series. In the next half hour, we will bring you excerpts and highlights from previous episodes, and each will be captured in our regular segments. We will begin this review with the segment, A Changed Story. Over the last few months, we have had the opportunity to meet inspirational men and women, mostly delegates from the program, who have rekindled our hope in humanity and are living testimonies of the reformative power of the Presidential Amnesty Program. Let's remind you of some of these delegates.
My name is Anecho Dumali Kienge. I am from Ogoni in Rivers State. I'm a delegate, an ex-agitator. I got into the Amnesty Program in 2009. But before 2009, I was completely lost in violence, in wickedness. I was a menace even to myself. I haven't been a menace to society and the state. Several times attempts has been made to arrest me for crimes I committed, crimes like sea piracy. I never kidnapped because when I was doing all that, kidnapping was not involved. We'll do more of sea piracy, go on vessels, go on fish trawlers to rob them and get money and to keep ourselves going, to buy arms and to buy drugs and to sleep with women. The turnaround took place in 2003 before the amnesty. And so I started talking about peace before the amnesty came up. In fact, when I heard about the amnesty, I took the responsibility of going to the likes of Chief Ateketom to go and talk to him to lay down his arms. I went to Camp 4. I have the videos, I have pictures. I was the person who personally called the Inspector General of Police then, Mike Okiro, and to come and see the fact that amnesty can work. I had the privilege to be trained by Amnesty. They took us to South Africa as ex-agitators, leaders, ex-militants, the generals. We went to South Africa, and Dr. Lafayette, the personal secretary to late Martin Luther King Jr., took us on conflict management and non-violence approach to agitations. And so I got motivated and added to the experience I had and with the encounter I had with God when He saved me. I started going about talking to people about living a more peaceful life, using a more peaceful approach to make agitations and to make requests and demands. And so that's what led to the 4 Center. What we are trying to achieve is to bring people who were enemies to themselves together in a place. We have people who are members of the Durban Court Group, the Iceland Court Group, the Greenland Court Group, that makes up the militant body. And so bringing them together here will teach them love. The kind of life I lived, I was not supposed to be alive. God saw 20 years from that time that if He saved me, I will go back to save others. And that is the only reason why I'm alive.
I am Maxine Dakoro from Kola Town in Akokotaro local government area, Rivers State. For me, I'm a living testimony. I was a cultist from cultist. You know, this usually street cult and yeah. So from cultist, I became a militant which means I entered the river, to be in the creeks, to be, doing piracy like pipeline vandalization, bunkering, which myself and my friends, we even had points which we usually get fuel. In all these militant camps, we usually have the white, black and red. Sometimes it's just like that, but unfortunately I joined the squad that is just the red, which is just to go and destroy. I don't go for peaceful movements. Actually, I saw amnesty as the game changing point. So I embraced amnesty, and that was how I get to the point I am. But after embracing for a while, I studied the program and I was asking what would be the best thing for a man to do. At least this is a very good opportunity. I've not seen a program like this, that is connected to the poor more. I took education. Later then I was called and I studied under this program, the Presidential Amnesty Program. I studied in Malaysia, Lim Kok Wing University of Creative Technology, which I got my second class upper. Came back and was engaged by the special advisor to the president on Niger Delta. I was engaged and it was really helpful. I was not idle after graduation, and here I am working in the office of the special advisor to the president on Niger Delta. It's easy to go back to your past if you're not busy, you're not connected, you're not engaged. The special thanks goes to the SA, the special advisor to the president on Niger Delta, and the coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Brigadier General Paul Borough.
My name is Imo Ekweriko. I'm from Akwa Ibom State, Etina local government. I was selected from the violence-impacted area and I became a delegate of the Presidential Amnesty Program. I am a graduate of Banking and Finance, University of Calabar. So after finishing my education, I've been seeking for a job. I've not yet seen, so I wanted a plan B in life. So I decided to go into fashion because I love creating things with fabric. Because clothing is a necessity of life. You can't do without clothing. So to create something and to teach people how to learn a craft. So that's what made me want to go into fashion. I thought of going into fashion, but I didn't know how to start it. So looking for a job, I didn't have a job at that particular time, so I had to learn about fashion. When I heard about the Amnesty Program, and I didn't have capital to start my business as at then, so I showed my interest, and that was when I was now registered in the Amnesty Program. I was being trained in an institute in Port Harcourt. So during our course of training, we were being taught about different kinds of fabric, then the basics, how to use the hand needle to do a running stitch, fine hemming. Then we were being taught how to cut, how to measure, how to cut and fitting. And we were being taught that. Then how to create styles, depending on the kind of fabric you bring. You can see a particular fabric, then you know how to create something out of that fabric. So we have been taught about creativity and what can suit a particular shape, as in the build of a person. I always wish, and I know it's going to come to pass, to have my own fashion house, to train people that want to go into fashion, then do a fashion show, models putting on my clothes to walk on the runway and just make it go global. I really learned a lot in my training. It's really made me who I am today. Now, even though I'm not having a white collar job, but I am very okay. I'm comfortable. I have the opportunity to train some youngsters in the fashion world. So even though this is my humble beginning, and I really appreciate the Presidential Amnesty Program because they've really assisted me to achieve my dream.
While the changes within the delegates are significant, so also is the platform created by the Amnesty Program for training and empowerment of delegates. There are dozens of areas of training designed for delegates, and these areas are usually our focus on the segment Insight. Let's bring you some excerpts from previous episodes where we described the nature of some trainings and how they impact on the quest to reintegrate delegates into society. Agriculture is an area that has remained of utmost importance to the Presidential Amnesty Office. This is in line with the presidential initiative on exploring available potential in the sector to grow the national economy.
I am so passionate about that because with agriculture you cannot go wrong. Agriculture will help in transforming our economy positively, creating job opportunities as it were, and of course, enhancing the capacity, the financial capacity and position of individuals and their groups.
The Amnesty Office is therefore vigorously pursuing partnerships with relevant agro-allied groups to, among other things, encourage the youth of the Niger Delta to embrace commercial agriculture.
We're doing cash crops, we're doing fish farming, we're doing snail production, we're doing grass cutter, piggery, poultry, just name it. But the main focus is the value chain. Whatever field we find ourselves, we do the full value chain of that field.
Thousands of delegates have been trained already in agriculture, and more are being redirected into targeted value chain of specific agro sectors.
Once we attach them to a center, we engage off-takers so that they, mop up everything, and that way sales are going on and the delegates are happy.
The training in transformer repairs and maintenance is clearly one of the challenging technical areas under the Presidential Amnesty Program. It is a vocation envisaged by the Amnesty Office as rather unique and relevant, considering Nigeria's strive to overcome challenges in the national power sector. The Presidential Amnesty Office veered into the power reform program, clearly aware of the prospective rising demand for skilled labor to service the sector. The office engaged 4 local partners to train delegates in relevant areas of transformer repairs and maintenance, and one of them was Brainbox Services Limited.
We specialize on transformer repairs and basic maintenance and diagnostics.
23 delegates were deployed for training at Brainbox Matrix Service Limited in Port Harcourt, River State for 9 months.
Transformer is bad and I'm being called to go and perform, to show my talents if I really know what I'm doing as an engineer. So the first test I will take is the installation resistance test. The installation resistance test, we take it so that we will know if that transformer, the coil in that transformer is bridging with the body of the transformer, or if there's water inside the transformer, or if the coil itself is, bridging with the lamination. So that's how we conduct this installation resistance test. Or if the oil is faulty, like if there's water inside the oil, do you get? So that's how we conduct the installation resistance test. If the installations are good, then after that we conduct the continuity test to know if the phases are linked together. So that's how we conduct the continuity test to know if the red, yellow, blue phases are linked together. And lastly, secondly, we conduct the ratio test for us to know the input voltage of the primary winding and the output voltage of the secondary winding.
The trainees demonstrated high level of commitment and competence throughout the duration of the internship. Welcome to the Scientific Equipment Development Institute, SEDI in Enugu State. This institute is a unit of the National Agency for Scientific and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, supervised by the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. It is also providing the Presidential Amnesty Office with expertise for its next generation of agro workers. In essence, the Amnesty Office is pushing the frontiers by helping delegates acquire practical knowledge in the development of indigenous technology to add value to local production.
So many organizations in this country, like NMPC, international companies or organizations like UNIDO and UNICEF have, to a very large extent, patronized the local content initiative of this establishment. Why? Because we were able to develop a technology that competes favorably with the international standards.
A total of 48 delegates are currently undergoing training at the Institute. These delegates are the harbingers poised to blaze the trail in agro-processing as far as the amnesty program is concerned. The training at the Scientific Equipment Development Institute is, however, spread across 3 intrinsic yet delicately linked divisions. The first is the Computer Numerical Command Department, which is essentially all about precision in molding and fabrication. The bulk of the delegates are, however, engaged in agro-welding and fabrication, which is the second department under the training. The third is electrical engineering, seeming far removed from other trainings, but connected nonetheless.
What they are trying to do is to bring up modernization in whatever thing we're doing, to see that the end product can stand the value with what we have outside the country.
The training in agro-welding and fabrication is at the core of the partnership between the Amnesty Office and the Scientific Equipment Development Institute.
If, for instance, especially in the riverine area, somebody has a fish farm, after harvesting, the residue, the remaining that are not sold, these are trainees, we have the capacity to develop dryers that will dry those fishes in good time and enhance their quality and be able to preserve them for further sales or for export. Also in agriculture, those that are into cassava farming, these are delegates. We have the skills to be able to create equipment that will aid them in either preserving their products or adding value to their products for secondary use.
Another unique and rather fascinating prospect of this particular training is the planned establishment of agro-products processing parks in 4 Niger Delta states: Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River. These parks would be strategically planned and will form part of the empowerment packages for these delegates at the end of their training. Our segment, Talking Point, is one of the most revealing parts of this program. In many ways, it helps throw light on issues affecting the Presidential Amnesty Program, as well as the new development agenda of the federal government for the Niger Delta. We have had the unique opportunity to speak to prominent and eminent personalities from the Niger Delta, and most of them were quite profound in their arguments. Let's bring you some exchanges from previous episodes. Please speak on the recent gains made in the education sector, but then tell us of your efforts to ensure that student delegates receive their allowances and school fees as and when due.
Another area of concentration in the Niger Delta region Human Capacity Development Initiative is education. Because without education, it becomes difficult to even comprehend issues generally. But if you went to school, you'll be able to appreciate and comprehend issues as they come to bear. And then somebody who develops himself educationally will be able to use facilities available to express himself as against using coercive means. Most uneducated youths are violent because they have not captured, they really have not known how to use their endowment, educational endowment, to express themselves as a way of resolving issues. That is why the Presidential Amnesty Office is so committed to developing the educational capacity of the youths within the program. Only last week we had 19 beneficiaries of the amnesty program that graduated from the Cape Coast University in Ghana. The amnesty office has helped greatly in transforming the lives of the ex-militants who before now were in the creeks, and they are now better informed internationally, better informed in terms of networking, and better informed in terms of globalization. I think it's a great feat.
I am sure you have a few pointers for government and the people of the region in terms of collaboration and how to fast-track development in the region.
Let us be honest. There's so many broken promises, which is what led to the agitation in the first place. Government has to come out honestly to begin to implement some of the promises that they made. The amnesty program is just a stopgap measure to bring peace to the Niger Delta. And to be able to bring peace to the Niger Delta, the government also has to fulfill the other end for sustainable peace. I believe that one of the things they can start with is the remediation of the environment. Another thing is roads. Once you open up the roads, private sector will come in with the infrastructure. Government will do its part. The government is supposed to create an enabling environment for other people to thrive. So what government needs to do, in my opinion, is to open up the roads. There's the East-West Road has been on the table for many years. There's another link, many bridges that have been abandoned, many, even the rail project, which we believe may come on stream. Once the government is able to fulfill all these promises, I believe that the people of the Niger Delta will also respond in kind by making sure that they also want to enjoy these new things and want to make sure that everything is safe in the Niger Delta. This is my belief.
At what point do we say we have reached a balancing point between government and the people of the Niger Delta?
Well, I can say this. It is a natural thing. When you go to a university, you stay in there within a specified time. And at the end of the day, they will tell you, we are awarding you a certificate based on satisfying the conditions. You have been found worthy in character and in learning. We don't want too much. When Yaradua was alive and he was ruling the country, he wanted to do a coastal road from Ondo State to Calabar. Why are we not talking about things like this? East-West Road has been on for years. They know what to do. And the basic necessities, when they are done, the people of the area will say, we have arrived.
This is it. Remember, we will be bringing you the concluding part of our end-of-year review series in our next episode in the new year. Let me use this opportunity to wish you a very happy and prosperous 2018 in advance, and hope the year brings us greater things as a people and a nation. Well, if you missed some aspects of the program, please visit our social media platforms to catch up on some of what you have missed. For sure, we will be here same time, same station next week. Stay blessed and stay positive. I am Stella Inameti, and Amnesty Works.